All right, welcome everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 16th of July, 2025, and this is the SIG Cloud Provider office hours meeting. SIG Cloud Provider follows is a sub-project of Kubernetes SIGs, and as such, we follow their meeting guidelines, which can basically be summarized as please treat everyone as you would expect to be treated, or explicitly so, please be kind to each other. And if you'd like to talk, please raise your hand and I will call it. Although there's only a few of us here at the moment, so we might not have a lot of need for that. Okay. Well, I think like Lucas, you're the only one here who might have a sub-project update, but I think we know kind of where you're at and what you'd like to see. So yeah, I was kind of hoping we'd get a few more people here by this time. But I guess hey, speak of the Joel. Um, all right, so the first topic, and Lucas, feel free to jump in and if there's anything you want to add here. Um, you know, Lucas has been kind enough to create this enhancement. Joel and I have been reviewing it, and I think we're at the point now where I think it's probably very close to being ready to merge. I think there were just, I think all the open questions had been answered. I had given it a review and things looked good to me. I think, Joel, if you have the opportunity to give this one more review, or if you think it looks good now, like I think it'd be great. We can probably get this merged soon. And Lucas, I know you already have the PRs and stuff all ready for this and everything.
Oh yeah, this is all my to do. I apologize for the slow feedback loop there.
Cool. Lucas, did you want to add anything about the PR or the follow-ups or anything?
No, all fine from my side. And yeah, thanks for Joel for having a look.
Cool. All right. So the next topic that I wanted to bring up, although we don't have a very heavy quorum, so I might bring this up again in the future. Is the notion of IPv6 support in our CCMs. And this is, I say Red Hat, as a Red Hatter, we have customers and users who are looking to do more with IPv6, which is causing us to take a look at the cloud controller managers to see, kind of what support is there, what support might need supplementing, those type of things. And I think in general, a couple of the CCMs are in really good shape. A couple of them need a little bit of work. I'm not going to name names or anything, but I wanted to kind of like bring up the idea here just to kind of start talking about it. And now that we're looking more into the SIG, taking more of an active role in the maintenance of all the different cloud controllers and whatnot. I just wanted to see if people had thoughts about IPv6 or if there's any pushbacks or things we should be wary of or questions people have.
I mean, I'm very pro IPv6. We got it into Kubernetes. It has been years at this point. There's always the little caveats of it. Got the implementation into Kubernetes is dual stack, and so IPv6 only clusters are a little bit iffy. And so since I joined late, sorry about that. Can you kind of clarify for me? Are we talking about IPv6 only, or are we talking about dual stack? Yeah.
So I think like initially I'm talking about dual stack, right? Uh, it would it would be nice if we could investigate single stack, uh, but I think that's much further down the road.
Yeah. I have not looked. I full this, transparency. I haven't looked in at least a year, but last I checked, SIG Network may have still had some work in progress in that area. So I would say, like, if that's something that we want SIG Cloud Provider to have an interaction with SIG Network on, that would be something I'd be very happy to, go to one of their meetings, check on their current status. You can assign that as an action item to me. because I have some familiarity with the work thus far.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. Yeah.
Like my bona fides there is I think I did a lot of the docs updates when Cal landed the giant PR to put IPv6 support into Kubernetes.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah, that's great to hear. And for what it's worth, the investigation that we've been doing, and Marco is here. He's been doing a lot of this investigation as well. So Marco, please feel free to jump in if you have any comments or anything. But I think based on what you just said, like some of the investigation we've been looking at has been a lot around, like load balancer service creation and whatnot, and ensuring, the IPv6 rules are properly set up, or, if an infrastructure provider has special load balancing options for IPv6. And I think in many of the cloud controllers, and I'll just say this since you've kindly kind of jumped in here, Bridget, the Azure one actually looks pretty good right now. The IPv6 support seems fairly solid for dual stack there. But in investigating some of the other cloud providers, we're starting to figure out like where is the delta for work that might need to be done. And so I wanted to bring it up here just to see what people thought, and maybe if there are Red Hatters or others in the community, who are interested in kind of putting up, PRs or issues around this stuff, I think it's something interesting that the SIG, might start looking into. Yeah, Marco, I see you got your hand up, please.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for sharing that, Mike. Yeah, I was talking with Joyce this morning. We are investigating more specific for AWS limitations, and there are some challenges like CLB does not support, but
Marco,
NLB
your mic sounds kind of weird. It might have switched to your laptop microphone or something. I don't know.
yeah, you're very hard to
Well,
hear.
it's strange. Let me try. This always happening.
Now we've gone the wrong direction. Now we can't hear you at all.
Computers.
Yeah, this is the tough part, right?
The old saw AI is easy, AV is hard.
Yeah. Oh, and now Marco says in chat that he lost AV. Well, Marco.
Do you want to try dropping and rejoining, Marco? Maybe
Yeah.
it's a transitory failure. Hey, Marco pops out and Walter pops in. We were having a slight struggle. Marco was about to give some thoughts about IPv6. But hey, Walter, since you're here, Elmico just brought up the idea that there may be inconsistent IPv6 support in terms of the CCMs, I believe you said. I joined just as Elmico was explaining this. Elmico?
I mean, yeah. So we've been investigating. When I say we, Red Hat has been looking into, kind of dual stack IPv6 and what it would take. Where are the gaps that we have currently? And so, as I'm kind of looking at cloud controller managers and whatnot, we've been investigating those, and Marco has been taking a close look at them. And so, I wouldn't say I don't want to say things are in terrible shape because they're not, but there's probably some room where we could do work to improve things. And so I was kind of feeling out, the group here just to see like what do people think about IPv6 work? Do people have, any thoughts about it or anything?
I think there are two things you brought up, IPv6 and CCM. So I'm guessing there's more to that story.
Well, yeah. So specifically, I think where we're focusing our attention right now is around the IPv6 usage with respect to load balancer backed services, because this IPv6 is handled slightly differently in the load balancing services on the various infrastructure providers. And so in some cases, there are adjustments that need to be made to the load balancers to allow IPv6 traffic. You know, and in other cases, I think, you know, there might not be IPv6 supported load balancers, those kind of things. So that was specifically what we were looking at was, you know, around the services, the service
Well,
to start with.
so if I reinterpret what I think I heard, Elmico, you were saying there's one or two specific controllers that are in the CCM that are generating different behaviors.
Well,
is that a fair
right.
way of putting it?
I would say, yeah. And in some cases, I think there's like just a lack of support for like an, you know, like if a user wanted to bring like an IPv6 or they wanted to get an IPv6 based, you know, service or something, right? Like it through a load balancer, that those options just don't exist, basically.
So here's my thought, and we can. I obviously have a bit of an agenda here. I think that we should be moving towards having reference implementations of Kubernetes on every cloud. I think the Cloud Provider X repos are the best way to do that. And I think we should probably, if you have a particular idea of IPv6 based service creation that is customers likely to want, we should be trying to build a test for that. And, you know, we should get the point where the repo comes up. We can talk about whether it's CAPI or COPS, but let's at least get a reference way of getting the tests running and have a test for this. And then we can just at that point, we can be sneaky and file a bug and just say, hey, this test is failing on your cloud provider. That would be the way I would like to see this done. I don't know what Joel and others think.
Yeah, no, I love your ideas, and I'd like to subscribe to your newsletter at this point, you know. So no, I think that sounds like a tremendous way to do it if we could bring it in that way. Yeah, like being able to have like some test that's just like setting up IPv6 services, and then we can say, all right, it passes on these clouds, doesn't pass on those clouds. That seems like a really easy signal just to like point to where the work needs to be done.
And I mean, I know there were some legitimate complaints for Joel about cloud provider GCP. And I've tried to have a few folks start working on those. I think at this point, we can talk about deployment areas, but I believe that the fundamental binaries now have make files so that, you know, you don't have to worry. Yeah, I figured you'd make you happy. And I don't know if it's landed yet, but we even had a set of instructions on getting a COPS image to come up with the binaries that had been built.
Oh, nice.
So I'd love to get that more automated, but, you know, I've got folks in the background starting to try and knock these down. And in fact, you know, if Joel or anyone else wants to start collaborating on putting together a plan, I figured those were somewhat useful no matter what direction we finally ended up going. So I was able to scrounge some resources to try and make some of these things happen.
Yeah, that's cool. If you have anything that can be shared kind of externally or whatever, like I would love to see that stuff, because I've got a colleague here who's been looking into CCM testing, and I'm sure he'd be interested in it.
Oh, I mean, I can certainly the directions. I think there's a PR out for the directions. I can send you the PR because that's against an open source repo, and I believe the make files actually landed.
Oh,
so
cool.
Those are just there and available.
Awesome. So Marco has told me via a different channel that he crashed everything apparently. So I think he might try to join us once he gets his computer back up and running. So maybe we can come back to IPv6 support unless there are other thoughts or comments to add right now. Okay. If nobody else has comments on this topic, then we can move on and we can come back to it if Marco can rejoin us. Okay, so next topic. I started with one owner's file update. This is to the cloud provider AWS, and I basically, you know, just did what we talked about. I put a SIG Cloud Provider leads in, created an owner's alias, and just put the current leads on there. I hope I got everyone's GitHub handle correct. I think I did. But yeah, so obviously this is going to take a review from the AWS current maintainers, but hopefully it won't be too. It looks like yeah, the CI bot likes it. Hopefully it won't be too controversial. Yeah, Walter, please.
Just because I just had a quick question based on your statement, which is I was going to ask anyway, but we have a current set of leads. How, I mean, I assume they still are owners, at least for this repo, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I didn't
but I noticed I didn't see anyone else, or did I miss other people in that file?
Yeah.
Okay. There's some,
yeah. I just didn't expand it. Yeah, I left all the rest of everything the same. I tried not to change that, so that none of this stuff would be affected by it.
Okay. One thing we should think, and I mean, Nick was a great TL for SIG Cloud Provider, but one thing I will just quickly mention is I don't know that he has touched anything in this area in years, which suggests, and it's unfair of me to pick on Nick, but I mean, he's off doing other things, but that suggests to me that we probably haven't been
possibly an audit.
Yeah.
Who would we expect? DIMS or someone else from, closer to that topic to remove as well as add people? Like what do we think is our
I
getting people
think we
removed
should,
path? Yeah.
I think, yeah, way to shorten my punchline. Nicely done. No, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think we start with DIMS or someone on there and say, hey, you're the person closest. Can you do an audit? And then if after a month or two they haven't, we own it. Like it's up to us to then do the audit. And I think we can, but I'd rather let the people closer to it.
Yeah, that was kind of my default too. I like, because I get what you're saying. Like I saw some of these names on here and I'm like, I don't think this list is accurate for the current approvers or for people who are looking at it. But I also didn't want to like overstep any boundaries or anything. I just wanted to have a light touch here,
Question, I wonder if this might be out of scope for the charter discussions that we also have going on, but do we have a fall through of if somebody is inactive for 1 year, we will automatically, or we may remove them? Like, should we build some sort of fail-safe in for the people who don't answer us anymore? We have a choice. Like,
That's
yeah.
a good question. Like, is there any guidance in the community stuff around that? I don't know that we have
I
any.
mean, a lot of CNCF projects have a clause of like inactivity for blah 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 can lead to blah blah blah. I think CNCF even has it in some of their default templates. I see Walter thumbs upping, but I would love to hear your actual thoughts as well, Walter.
I mean, I think KK itself has something like this. So, I mean, if we wanted, we could probably borrow from KK, but we do own our own repos. And in fact, I think you're right. I think we should have a charter. While we're on that topic, I would actually suggest that it would be good for us to have a SIG Cloud Provider charter on somewhere where we have it central, and then probably have some sort of link in the readme.md that we require on every SIG Cloud Provider X that links back to the central charter, just so that it is both very clear and easier for us to maintain, like one-time link back to a central point of ownership and documentation, and then that's in one central repo we can all maintain.
Yeah, +1, that sounds completely reasonable. And we can feel out the way the implementation works such that the stuff will be auditable and visible, but making it easier for us to see which stuff is getting stale sounds like a no-brainer. Yeah.
Okay. So on one level, we'll wait to see if DIMS or Kirthan has a response to the message here. And on another level, I guess we could. Does anyone want to look into if there's advice or guidance about this already? Should we take that as an action item just to look in and see like what does, is there prior art around this that we could? Oh, cool. Thank you, Kirsten.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I'm just kind of looking, going, I'm 99% positive that the prior art is templates and recommendations, not a dictum. But I guess you can put that on my list too. I'm going to be doing some cloud provider stuff this week, so
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that there are recommendations, but not a mandate. But we can
Yeah,
pick from
thank you.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And that brings us pretty cleanly to the issue I added, which is
Yes.
we've had 2 weeks now for people to put comments and thoughts on this document. And there are a bunch of comments, and I'm going to go through and try to make some, like, I'm going to make a pull request. But in terms of all the comments, Michael left a lot, and I think Joel left one, and I think there might be a couple others. I would say if people can get their comments or suggested changes in by end of day Thursday, then I'll PR in something on Friday. So, as our update.
Cool. Yeah, and thank you for taking the lead on that and kind of setting it up and everything. I'm excited. I'm excited to see us kind of review the charter now that we've like done all this great stuff and kind of like think about the future and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, oh, I like it. And
Okay.
yeah, I will. You can put another action for me that I'm going to PR in a change on Friday.
Yeah.
That
appreciate
is our. That is our, like, we are gonna have a charter update.
You
And
got a lot of SIG action items to
well, for whatever reason, today is back to back to back meetings, and tomorrow is almost no meetings. So I'm just putting a bunch
Wow.
of SIG tasks in tomorrow because it's summer, you know. A lot of the people that I would be doing stuff with are on vacation or whatever. So I'm like, great, I can power through and get a few things done.
Yeah, I'm jealous of a no meeting Thursday. It's exciting.
It's not official. It's just like a bunch of things that would be a meeting just happen to not be happening this week.
Right. Well, let's not talk about it too much. Otherwise, people will be like, "Oh, Bridget's free tomorrow. I better schedule some meetings."
Well, my calendar does not look free. I assure you, I have mastered the art of fake meeting.
I see Marco has rejoined us. Marco, did you wanna, we kind of talked about the other topics, but we'll come back to IPv6. Did you want to add a few more thoughts here or see if your audio is working or? Okay. Yeah, I see like the level thing going on your mic, but I do not hear you at all.
Yeah, we can hear static.
Yeah, it sounds like somehow your audio has degraded from earlier today when we were talking.
Marco, do you want to
Okay.
put it in the chat just so that we can try to make sure we talk about the thing that matters to you?
Okay, well, we won't be meeting for this meeting next week, but it'll be 2 weeks. But yeah, if you wanted to add something about like the work you've been doing or whatever, like I think, Oh, gotcha. Okay. So I think what Marco wanted to share was probably some of the details. Like he's been doing some investigation in the last week specifically about looking at CCM AWS and looking how the dual stack stuff works and everything. And I think actually, if we go to look at the open issues that need triage, I think I left one of them open here. Oh no, it must be in one of the other repos. Yeah, I think Marco had an issue open about this too. Maybe we could put it on the agenda for next time. Yeah. So I guess what Marco is asking in chat is he's wondering if there's overall support for single stack IPv6 in other providers. And I think we might have said this when you were offline before, Marco, like, I don't think Kubernetes as a whole has solidified on single stack IPv6 yet. Is that accurate, Bridget?
I am going to look right this second, but I know that it was in progress for SIG Network a while ago, and that's one of the things that I was going to go check on.
Oh, cool.
Thanks, Bridge. Yeah, not sure if you can hear me.
Oh, yeah, now it works perfect,
Oh,
Marco.
hey,
Miracle.
magical.
Yeah, now it's working.
Very cool. But yeah, what I shared, we were investigating more specific for AWS, but it looks like not possible to run single stack in AWS specifically. But if Kubernetes does not support, so there is no reason for CCM to support, right? Looking to hear your investigation, Bridget. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, I'm just looking really quickly at the SIG network caps that are currently in flight. I see implemented caps, but I am looking to see what's still. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just go look and see what is, because they had a lot of moving parts around that. Here we go. This. Theoretically, this cap was implemented and declared GA. Oh, as part of 563. Huh.
Do you have
All right, I'm just gonna drop a link in the chat to the thing I'm looking at,
cool.
but I'll do more investigation. But that is what I'm thinking.
Awesome.
Is like that claims that it's done, but this is one of those, Dan Winship cleaned up this cap 2 months ago, and we would have to double check with him to make sure that's correct. But that's the breadcrumbs that I'm looking at so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's take a look at the issues that need triage. And so it looks like we just had this new one that came up that was a failing test. And it's too bad that Walter took off, or Walter had to go before we got to this. Because I think we're gonna need, I think we might need a GCP engineer to look at this, or someone more familiar with GCP. But I didn't think this was necessarily a cloud provider specific problem. Because it seemed like it was failing on the reboot, which wouldn't necessarily have anything to do with the cloud provider per se. Does anybody else have thoughts about this one or want to kind of add anything?
Whenever there are test flakes, I always wonder, like, can you go back to the grid of how often that's actually happened? You know what I mean? Like, is it? Yeah. I'm always like, when did it start? Is it still happening? Whatever.
Right. I think if we look at the test grid, I don't think this is like still happening. Let's see, what is it? Reboot, unclean reboot and ensure. Let's see. No, this doesn't even appear on this page.
Yeah, I don't think I have enough context to say what's going on there.
Yeah, I
but-
mean, so like it passed a number of times, and then there's a couple flakes. I'm guessing the flakes must appear statistically significant over a longer period of time.
I'm just curious, when they opened that, had the flakes been happening? Yeah, so flakes are from time to time. It's not an always thing. And do we have like is there a resource failing to provision or a timeout? Like what is causing it to not succeed? Do we know?
Yeah. So it's supposed to reboot a node and it comes back up like normally, but it's not like that is, there's like a failure happening when it tries to do that. Now,
Unclean reboot. Yeah, you're right. We're gonna have to ask Google like what that really means.
right. Well, like, especially because like the reboot part of this test uses a script file to like manipulate the cloud and like literally reboot the instance. So like what we're waiting for is it to come back up here. But like the
But
errors that it's listing here
failed
are not related to
failed
cloud.
to sync config map cache, timed out waiting for the condition.
Right. That doesn't have to do with the cloud.
I mean that's not the cloud. I mean, it seems to me that other than being the cloud controller, that sounds like it's some resource that's timing out.
Well,
I
right. And
don't
then
know. I
also
don't know
just
how
like,
it syncs that.
do we know like
Is it
we
the
probably need someone
storage?
who understands like what is supposed to make this volume. Is there a slow CSI attachment that's happening here or something, which could be related to a bug in the CCM if it were happening consistently, but you know, I'm skeptical.
Or it could be like the storage didn't get created or got detached or in some other way became unavailable. And so it can't get to the cache it needs because the storage it was trying to put it on is like, what? I don't exist. Like right there, I think the mount failure is what I'd be more suspicious of. I don't want to punt this to SIG storage, but I do kind of want to be like, what's happening with that mount?
Wonder, can we do a wonder if that, well, let's look and see, like, I'm curious now. Okay, so this reboot was different. This was just failing to pull images. So like that, and what was the next failure?
Says that services have not been yet read at least once, cannot construct in mvars. So that's a bootstrapping failure. That who knows what's going on there. These all seem very unrelated. Like intermittent dissimilar failures that are inconsistent. Yeah, I think it would be valuable to have somebody who knows which parts of GCP, because for somebody who knows GCP, maybe they could look at all those and go, oh, it's the what's it. The what's it controls all of that from the back end. It looks like that's the thing that's passing info to all of those things and failing to do so or whatever. But I don't know that we can diagnose this without more clarity. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it looks like okay, so like it looks like Roni 2004 is kind of wants to look into this. Um, but yeah, it's not accepted. Like I just don't know, is it appropriate for cloud provider to accept the triage
Yeah.
of this?
I kind of feel like I would like Walter or somebody else from his SIG to, or from his his hyperscaler to say something before we just, you know, before we commit on his behalf.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So let us, okay, so we looked at that. There was only the one issue that was open, and then, you know, this is looking pretty good, I think, so. Scan the other one. There should be a way to like just have it highlight the failures or something. Oh, here we go. It was. Just double check these to see what's happening. Okay, that doesn't seem related to, that's even a different test. It's a CLI test. Okay. I'm satisfied. All right, does anybody else have questions or comments before we end the meeting here, I guess? Going once, going twice. All right. Thanks everybody for coming out, and I guess we'll see you in 2 weeks. And if not, look out for some of the activity on GitHub from us.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Later.
Bye.